Welcome to Hot Drama TV.
The smile that makes the world pause. The story of Liu Yuning. There are moments that feel strangely quiet. In a sea of endless images we scroll past every day, one face suddenly makes us slow down. Not because it is overwhelming, not because it demands attention, but simply because of a smile. Many people did not truly notice Liu Yuning when he first stepped onto the big stage, nor when his name began to appear on music charts. Instead, they noticed him the moment he smiled. A smile that made people wonder, why does this look carry so much emotion? It is not the kind of smile born under bright lights. It does not belong to someone untouched by struggle. Rather, it is the smile of someone who has walked a long, quiet road. Within it are traces of years spent standing outside the spotlight, of nights where music was the only companion, and of a journey that few have the patience to complete. When Liu Yuning smiles, people do not see only happiness. They see experience. A hint of fatigue carefully hidden. A calm understanding that success is not a miracle, but the result of refusing to give up, even when giving up once felt easier. Some smiles inspire admiration, but Liu Yuning's smile inspires trust. Trust that behind the light is a real person. Trust that what he has today was earned, not granted. And trust that no matter how long the road ahead may be, he will keep moving forward with quiet perseverance. At times, his smile shines brightly under the stage lights, the joy of someone fully living for his passion. At other times, it is soft and restrained, almost silent. No performance. No need for attention. Just a moment of stillness in a noisy world. That sincerity is what keeps people watching. In an industry where images can be manufactured overnight, audiences are drawn to emotions that do not try to impress. To his fans, Liu Yuning's smile is more than a beautiful moment. It feels like a gentle message. If someone who has endured so much can still smile, then perhaps we can be a little kinder to ourselves too. Perhaps that is why his smile does not only light up the stage, it reaches somewhere deeper. It does not overwhelm. It invites. It does not place him far above us but somehow closer. And among countless dazzling faces, people remember Liu Yuning. Not only for his voice, not only for the spotlight, but for a smile that carries an entire story within it. A smile that is not loud yet profound. A smile that is not showy yet warm. And perhaps that is exactly why his smile stays with us long after the screen fades to black. What lies behind that smile? The unspoken chapter of Liu Yuning. Not every smile tells its story out loud. Some smiles are answers to questions never asked. And Liu Yuning's smile belongs to that kind. The kind that appears calm on the surface, yet carries echoes of everything that came before it. Before the applause, before the cameras learned his angles, there were long stretches of time when no one was watching. Times when effort felt invisible. When progress came slowly, if at all. Those years do not show in headlines, but they live quietly in his expression. That is why his smile feels different. It is not rushed. It does not seek approval. It arrives with the patience of someone who understands that life does not move forward in straight lines. Behind it is the acceptance of delay, of uncertainty, of standing still while the world seems to move ahead without you. When Liu Yuning smiles, there is no urgency to prove anything. And that perhaps is what makes it powerful. In an industry built on constant validation, his smile feels grounded. It does not say, "Look at me." It says, "I'm still here." There are moments when that smile appears just briefly, between words, between songs, between thoughts. And in those moments it feels almost unguarded, as if the weight of expectation has been set down, even if only for a second. People often mistake quiet confidence for simplicity, but quiet confidence is earned. It is shaped by disappointment survived, not avoided. And Liu Yuning's smile carries the calm of someone who has already made peace with struggle. That is why it resonates beyond fandom. Because everyone at some point has walked a road where effort went unseen. Everyone knows what it feels like to hope quietly, to persist without applause, to smile not because everything is perfect but because giving up would cost more. His smile becomes a mirror, not reflecting success but resilience, not perfection but endurance. And maybe that is why it lingers in the viewer's mind. Long after the song ends, long after the screen goes dark, it reminds us that strength does not always look loud, and courage does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply looks like a person who chooses to smile, even after the long way around. And that choice, repeated again and again, becomes its own kind of light. When the smile fades, the voice remains, another side of Liu Yuning. There are moments when Liu Yuning does not smile. And in those moments something else steps forward. His voice. When the smile fades, the voice takes over. Steady, textured, carrying weight that words alone cannot explain. It is not a voice that demands attention, but one that quietly claims it. A voice shaped not by perfection but by time. Every note feels lived in. It carries nights of repetition, songs sung without an audience, and melodies offered to empty rooms. You can hear it in the way he holds a note just a second longer than expected. Not to impress, but as if remembering something only he knows. His voice does not rush. It understands patience. And perhaps that is why it feels so closely tied to his smile. The smile tells you he has endured. The voice tells you how. When Liu Yuning sings, there is a subtle restraint in his expression. No excessive movement. No dramatic display. Just presence. And in that presence, emotions find their way through without being pushed. Some voices feel like performances. His feels like confession. Listeners often say they feel understood when they hear him sing, even if they cannot explain why. That is because his voice does not aim to be extraordinary. It aims to be honest. And honesty, when delivered quietly, has a way of reaching deep. Between verses, when the music softens, you may catch a fleeting smile again. Not bright, not wide, just enough. As if to say, I've been here before. That smile, paired with the voice, becomes something rare. A balance between vulnerability and strength. Between openness and control. Between who he was and who he has become. In a world where volume often replaces depth, Liu Yuning chooses something harder. He chooses to be felt rather than heard. And when the song ends, what stays is not just the sound, but the sense that someone somewhere has put words to emotions you never knew how to name. That is when you realize, the smile was never the whole story. It was only the beginning. The distance between applause, Liu Yuning, and the quiet cost of fame. Fame changes distance. Not only the distance between a person and the world, but the distance between a person and himself. For Liu Yuning, the applause came gradually, then all at once. Stages grew larger, lights brighter, names louder. Yet somewhere between the cheers, there remained a quiet space no one could step into. Because fame does not erase solitude. It only makes it less visible. When the cameras turn away, the noise falls silent. And what remains is the same person who once sang without being heard, now carrying expectations heavier than before. The difference is that the silence now comes after the applause, not before. That is the cost few people talk about. To stand in front of millions, yet still learn how to be alone. To be surrounded by admiration, yet protect a private self from being consumed by it. Liu Yuning's restraint, the calm way he moves through attention, is not distance born of coldness but of care. Care for the self that existed before recognition. That is why his smile, even in moments of success, never feels careless. It is measured, grounded, as if he understands how easily joy can turn fragile under constant scrutiny. There are times when he steps back, chooses silence over explanation, simplicity over exposure. Not to disappear, but to preserve something essential. Because when everything is visible, authenticity becomes the first thing at risk. And still he shows up. Not louder, not more dramatic, just steady. This is where his story quietly diverges from many others. Instead of chasing the endless expansion of attention, Liu Yuning seems to choose continuity. A long path. A sustainable pace. One step forward without erasing where he came from. The smile remains, but it has evolved. It no longer asks for acceptance. It no longer seeks reassurance. It simply acknowledges the moment, then lets it pass. And perhaps that is why, even as fame widens the distance, something about Liu Yuning feels remarkably close. Because he never trades sincerity for spectacle. He never lets the noise decide who he becomes. In the end, the applause fades. The lights dim. The stage empties. What stays is the person who knows how to stand quietly in that space and still smile.